everyone, this is Colleen Perfect, Program Assistant with Purdue Extension in Dearborn County. In this video, I'm going to share with you some things to think about when getting ready to plant your aeroponic garden. So the planting process is really fun and very, very simple. Rock wool cubes are used as the growth medium in many aeroponic gardens. And definitely they're used in this aeroponic garden back here. So rock wool cubes are just these small little cubes that just need to be saturated with water. After they've been saturated with water, so if you just dunk them into a cup of water, then roll it around and they're completely saturated, then you can just plant the seeds right in the center of the cube. There's a little divot there in the cube oftentimes, and by just putting the seeds in there, you're actually ready to plop those cubes directly into the garden. Although that's not always recommended or mentioned in manuals, I found in my experiences that it works quite well, and it really helps the plants get a boost and start growing with the nutrient solution from day one as soon as you plant them. So that's what I always do, and I recommend you do the same. So plant your seeds in the saturated cube and then just pop it into your garden. Make sure your garden is full of water and nutrients, that the timers are all plugged in for the water to cycle on and off. Plug it in, plug the lights in. That's simple. You don't have to transfer them over later, and it works really well. But more so in this video, I wanted to talk about ways to really personalize the planting experience for youth, or really anyone of any age who's working with the aeroponic garden. So what I really like to do is I like to use a little piece of paper, maybe even a little part of a sticky note, and then use just a little bit of like regular Scotch tape and tape that little piece of paper or secure that sticky note right underneath the growing pod where you're going to actually have this plant growing. So right on the garden here, like right here, you put it right under the plant, okay? And on that piece of paper, I like to have what's growing. So what variety of lettuce, for example, or if it's Swiss chard or bok choy or arugula or something like that, write that on the piece of paper and then write the person's name on there for the person who planted it. I actually like to have the person who's planting it write it. But yeah, so that's really cool. It really personalizes the experience, allowing that person to feel connected to the plant that's been planted, really have it be a sense of their own. That can be so important for kids who don't really have anything at home that they can say is their own. When they get their own plant to grow and they can put their name on it, there's a sense of pride that really starts to build in that process. And so I would not skip that step. Definitely add that person's name or encourage them to do that. And then obviously the type of plant is helpful so that everyone knows what plant pops up if they're not used to already identifying these types of plants. One thing to think of along those lines about writing the person's name is that in some cases that either doesn't work or it may not be the best idea. So like if you're working with a youth home, for example, where there are residents moving in and out of that home at any given time and you really want to keep confidentiality intact, it may be better to give the plant a silly name. So you could have the child come up with a name like, I don't know, Sally Swiss chard or whatever, Larry the lettuce. And then you can, as a new child moves into a scenario like that, that new resident could then just take ownership over Larry the lettuce or whatever. And that makes those kind of scenarios, it's just something to be mindful of. It makes it easier to maneuver through this process. So that's a recommendation for you. Another thing I thought of is like if you're maybe doing this at a library and you have an after-school program, but different kids show up every week. Well, then it's not really going to make sense to put Eric's name if Eric was the one who planted it week 1 and Tom is taking care of it 2 weeks later. It may be better to give the plant a more generic name, like the example that I gave with the youth home and Larry the lettuce. Okay, I hope that helps, and happy planting. This is one of the most exciting parts of the growing process because in aeroponic garden systems like the one behind me, what I've experienced is that without using any vermiculite on top of the seeds and just leaving them bare, the plants grow really well, and you're able to see the germination happen in a matter of days. And so that is really cool to be able to start tracking the process. You could even encourage youth to take pictures every couple of days or once a week so that they can see kind of a slideshow of how their plant developed from a seed all the way to harvest. It's really quite fun. It never gets old to me to watch those seeds go from a seed to a seedling and then grow into a full plant. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Thanks for watching.